Okay, so we see a lot of people venting online, which maybe is good, maybe it's bad. I think if we vent, we should give some sort of solution out there. So, one thing I've seen a lot of people venting about is, well, being lonely and still wanting to be alone. Maybe that they don't say this in these videos, but so many times you see somebody talk about every weekend they go back to their apartment and they don't want to do that, but when they finally set up a hangout with somebody and it's time to follow through with those plans, all they want to do is stay at their apartment, scroll TikTok, watch Netflix, play video games, something like that. It's like, yeah, there's a loneliness epidemic, but also there's an epidemic of not knowing what to do about it. And this problem, I think, is everywhere. But we're seeing it in the Gen Zers, the young adults who are trying to navigate this new world that we created. Now, I'm not going to rag on Gen Z here because I think they deserve a lot more understanding being put into a world that no one understood. They're guinea pigs in a lot of ways. I'm not going to go into all those details, but hey, social media had some negative aspects to it. And guess what? We knew this before we put them on mobile devices. We knew they're not good for the developing brain. It's just uncharted territory. How do you restrict this in a fair way? Well, the genie's out of the bottle, and hopefully we can learn how to keep the future genies in the bottle, AI. So, whole different topic than this, and that can honestly be causing people existential angst to the point where they don't want to do anything. So maybe AI is the issue. Why am I going to go to school and learn stuff when AI is going to be smarter than I could ever be in 5 years? Yeah, that's valid. Maybe that's why kids aren't trying in school. But, I mean, I've been here before. I'm not going to be a boomer and just be like, oh, you just need to put yourself out there. That's all it takes. No, that's all it takes. I mean, see, there's a fundamental disconnect here. And I'm not saying Gen Z has it right. I don't think it's right to be able to exist as a ghost in society. What I mean by that is you can get all your food delivered to you, for instance. You don't have to talk to a single person, and you can go contactless. They can just drop the food off. You don't have to see anyone. See, the boomers don't even like this. They think it's not personal enough to talk on the phone. They like the face-to-face conversation. But guess what happens when I'm in a group of people and we have to order a pizza? I order the pizza. It's always such a struggle to try to get somebody to order the pizza, so I'm just like, I'll do it. Because I know everybody's too anxious to talk on the phone. Everyone wants to go log onto a website, put all their information in, and then order the pizza after navigating through a pull-down menu, opposed to being like, large pepperoni pizza, buy. And it's just too much. It's too much. But the point being is, the boomers are saying, just go put yourself out there when they prefer the face-to-face conversation. While Gen Zers are on a different plane. They don't exist in the same way, so that advice is just not going to work. Maybe in some ways it does make sense, but it's just a different world. And, I'm a millennial, I'm not a Gen Zer, but I'm a bit facetious here, take it with a grain of salt, but I do think it's kind of at play. I have autism, so it's like Gen Zers are like autistic millennials. And we're very different in a lot of ways. I'm not saying we're all the same, but the fact that I see so many young adults wanting to be alone despite feeling lonely, it just has a similar feeling to what I was going through. Because in specific times of my life, I was very lonely. I isolated myself so bad. Before the pandemic, after the pandemic, I was just isolating myself. I wouldn't go to the grocery store if there were people there. I'd go at 2 a.m. so no one would learn my face and learn to say hi to me. I just didn't want any of it. None of it. Elections, I didn't want to participate. I'm not a part of society. I just had these feelings where I didn't want to be around people. And this is probably more intense than how a lot of people feel, but I can say during this time, I was craving interaction. It's just, put me in a room full of people, I feel more lonely. So being around people wasn't the fix. I had to fix something else first. And I hate to say it, but I see a whole generation of kids, I should say young adults, because that's what you are, a whole generation of young adults who don't have social skills, just like me, an autistic millennial. And so, I can go on and on of things Gen Z says online that I relate to. When I was in high school, I thought a lot more like Gen Zers than my millennial brethren. I can't talk. But it's just, I had a lot of trouble relating to people. And there's a wealth of reasons for that. A wealth of reasons. I did lose social skills through an autistic burnout. That made it difficult. But I was very uncomfortable around anyone. It was hard to think. It was hard just to relax and have a good time. And so, this is what I want to talk about. I think this is going on to some degree. I do think social media made a lot of young adults less social. That's why it's so, oh my gosh, I don't want to talk on the phone with anyone. I just would rather send you a text and you ring my doorbell and run away so I don't have to say anything. I mean, that's just reality. That's how a lot of us feel. A lot of us just feel that way now. And again, I'm just not talking shit. I've felt that way a lot in my life. So, I kind of got around it to some degree. And I'm not going to say I'm the most social person. I need a lot of alone time. That's just the way I am. I need to isolate a lot, but not at the expense of feeling lonely. So, what are we going to do about this? How are we going to get you out of your apartment on the weekends? The main thing you need to do is hold yourself accountable. This is kind of maybe where the boomers might be onto something. It's kind of boomer advice, but there's some initiative that needs to be taken. And I do think this generation is missing some initiative, always being told the right answer. I don't think you guys were allowed to mess up enough. Let me just tell you, it's okay. It's okay, you can mess up. It's okay. So, me telling myself that helped a lot. And it wasn't the only step and the only thing I'm going to say here, but when you socialize with somebody, you can have a gaffe. You might embarrass yourself. When that happens, and if it happens, you got to be good at just trying to brush it off. Maybe you're around somebody who's a jerk and doesn't let you, don't hang out with them. As simple as that. Your friends should make you feel good, not bad. If they're not making you feel good, you need to do something else. Because, as I said, you can be in a room full of people and feel more lonely. It's not the fix. You're not around the right people. Something else needs to change. But sometimes we just put so much pressure on ourselves to act perfectly all the time that when we do mess up, it just makes us more anxious than we should be. So I started anticipating it. I'm gonna be weird at one point. I'm not gonna say something in the right tone of voice, something as minor as that. I would give myself an excuse for, so that when it happens, I don't just fixate on it. That was the one thing that helped me the most. I would say maybe the second thing. This helped me more than anything, actually, is putting myself in slightly uncomfortable situations. So, it started off with me just saying hi to people at a grocery store, because I was so bad at that. That's not something I go around doing now. I don't go to the grocery store, hey, hi. I actually put headsets on, because I decided that while I'm shopping, I want to listen to podcasts and stuff, and not deal with all the external noise. I'm sure people judge me for that. I'm sure. But, see, it's something I learned to be comfortable with. So, basically, if you put yourself in these slightly uncomfortable situations, when you make yourself uncomfortable, which you inevitably will, somewhere else, you'll just handle it better. You'll handle it better. So don't do anything dangerous unless that's your cup of tea. But just slight areas of discomfort are really good for you. Not just socially, I think anything worth having in life takes discomfort. So it's just a good skill to have. And this leads me to my final point, because we've had so many conveniences in modern day life that we try to avoid discomfort. But ironically, I think all these conveniences has caused us more discomfort than ever. I think we're less comfortable, at least mentally, than we've ever been throughout all of human civilization. So, what does this mean? Why am I saying this? Well, think about it this way. When it's time to go and hang out with your friend, you gotta get something to eat. You gotta get into some real clothes, not pajamas. You gotta go fill up your gas tank. You gotta do all this stuff and then meet up with them, get the ball rolling, and then we're gonna start to have fun maybe. Then maybe we'll hang out. Or maybe not. Maybe it's just awkward the whole time. So, basically, you have all these thoughts in your head, and this barrier you need to get over. Or I could just go climb into bed and watch Netflix. Yeah, I'm going to cancel. I'm going to tell them last minute that I can't make it for X, Y, and Z reason. But, see, we got to start pushing past that. So this is, again, discomfort to some degree, because all that stuff I just said is uncomfortable. Uncomfortable. Sadly, we have the younger generation never really having to, and I'm not trying to talk shit, this is just the world you're put into. There's so many conveniences out there that it makes it harder to do something that's not as convenient. So, all this is a thing, plus taking initiative. Taking initiative is the last thing I want to say. I think I already said this. If I didn't, whatever. Just having the answer all the time and being told what to do too much has resulted in a generation of young adults who look for somebody higher up to always tell them what to do. I have seen this in some studies, some articles, and in my own life somewhat. I can say lab sessions have a lot more students just raising their hand. TA, something's going wrong, come fix it, instead of trying to fix it themselves first. It's always about somebody else coming when there's a problem. So I think this is some of that. When you make a hangout with a friend, follow through. Take that initiative to follow through. See, I've gone out to places when I didn't want to go, but I promised somebody I would. And so I try, I go. This actually happened to me yesterday. Said I'd go skateboarding. Did go skateboarding. I drank too much coffee and I was really dizzy. What I ended up doing is, I'm going to try. I tried for 30 minutes and I just told my boys, oh, well, guys, I am not feeling it today. I think I'm out of here. And what did they say? Thanks for just stopping by. A short sesh is better than no sesh at all. So maybe this is the club for you. The club's not the thing to do, but your friends are there, and you just don't want to feel like you're being left out again. Go for a little bit. Maybe voice what you like to do, but I think kind of working on these little things here and there will help you out. They help me out a lot. And I still have work to do. That might be the best person to learn from in a way. You don't want a boomer who just is more social because you're brought up in a world where you're supposed to always be social and say a bunch of canned responses to everyone like you're a robot and like it. I'm not that way. I'm different than that, but I think in a lot of ways we could learn a thing or two from boomers. We could. I think a lot of Gen Zers and Gen Alphas and Millennials probably hate that, but they have been on this planet longer than us, and maybe they don't understand this world to the degree they think they do, but they understand how it is to be human, probably more than us. And a lot of things they're doing brings them more happiness than us scrolling TikTok. So, something to think about.